Hello Toy Collector fans, Universal Toy Collector here and welcome to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at the retro carded G.I Joe Classified Stormshadow. Okie dokie then, so as you can see, I do have two of the retro carded G.I Joe Classified Stormshadows. The reason being is because I like to open one up and display, and the other one I like to keep on the card back. And talking of card backs, look at the state of this. Now, I remember when I unboxed this, I was very displeased with the state of the card back, not happy with that at all. Despite the fact that I'm going to be opening this one here, obviously, because of the damage, I still do like to keep the cards. So what I'm going to do, put that one to the side and take a look at this card back. So this one managed to escape damage. It's got a little bit of a bend there, but nothing an acrylic case can sort out later on down the line. As far as the card goes, this figure was one of the earlier waves from Hasbro, so it is on that flimsy card, which isn't great. But overall, the image, absolutely stunning. Very reminiscent of the card backs back in the day, back in the 80s when we used to collect these. As you can see, you got the big bubble here with Stormshadow and all his accessories there, which looks pretty cool. So liking that. Cobra the enemy, G.I Joe Stormshadow there. So yeah, liking that a lot. And then you've got the Hasbro label just down the bottom. Spin it round, and then you've got that awesome file card, which I really like. I much prefer these file cards than the new boxes that the modern day figures come out in. So yeah, the standard line, should I say, in G.I Joe. And yeah, so I've got Gung Ho and Destro within this wave. You've got Stormshadow just there, and then Zartan is the other one that I need to get in this wave to complete this wave. So not that I'm a completist, but I will end up getting him at some point. But yeah, pretty cool. Now, as far as I can tell, this is an exact image of the card back from the 80s. Now, I know there's been a couple more recent card backs that haven't stayed true to the original card backs. I think it was Flint. His face has been changed and stuff like that. So as far as I'm aware, this is exactly the same image. I'm not an expert on G.I Joe by any means. So if this is the same image, then awesome. If not, then I still think it looks great. I'm sure someone will mention that in the comment section below. So what I'm going to do then is stop whiffle waffling on about the card and get the figure open. So 2 seconds. Righty ho then. So here is Stormshadow out of the packaging along with his accessories, and that is what we're going to be taking a look at first. The accessories, starting with the display stand. Now these display stands come standard with the retro carded G.I Joe Classified line. I really like these. I think these are awesome. So on this one here, you've got the Cobra logo just there, if I can get the light on it, as you can see. I don't use these, but I think they're very handy to have. And I also think that these stands should be packed standard with every action figure, regardless of whether it's G.I Joe, Star Wars, or Masters of the Universe. I think every standard line figure should come with a display stand. So there's that. Then you move on to his arrow case there, which is looking pretty cool. You've also got the spaces here to put his swords. So the swords go in the end there. You've got the white tips of the arrows there, which are looking pretty cool. Then you've got the logo painted red there, which looks absolutely fantastic, liking that. And then if you can see, let me just turn it around to get some light on it. Where is it? There you go. You've got an extra space there to fit the loose arrow. So there's that. And here's the arrow itself. So pretty nicely detailed. You've got the white feathers there. The arrow's black itself. And then you've got the silver end, which is there. Then you have the bow itself, which is pretty cool. A bit rubbery and bendy, but you've got the strings here, which is pretty decent. Then you've got the grip here, which is painted white. And I believe that that is different from the standard line version that came out a few years back. But we'll take a closer look at that in a minute when we do the comparisons. Then he comes with a extra set of hands, a spare set of hands. You've got the fist hand there. And then you've got the hand with the throwing star there. So that's comes attached. So yeah, pretty cool. Not too sure I'm going to be using those. And then you have the two swords. You've got the longer of the sword there. Again, you've got the handle and the grip painted black, and the sword is painted silver. And it's exactly the same with this one here. Get that in focus. So painted black, and then the blade is silver. So yeah, pretty cool. The figure itself is pretty decent. I like it a lot. There's one difference that I've noticed with this figure and the standard line release. So yeah, liking the whites. I think that's pretty decent. It looks pretty cool. I'm liking the red Cobra logo there. The black belt there with the silver bits painted on there. The buckle there. And I think you've got some more weapons just here. Then you've got the black belt around his waist. You can see the definition of muscle in his arms, which is pretty cool. And then the rest of him is all in white, which I think looks pretty cool. And then spin it round, and there you go. There's his backside, and this is what it looks like from behind. So yeah, decent stuff. Liking that a lot. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is get him all geared up, and then we'll take a proper look at him once he's all geared up, give my final thoughts and opinions. Then I will compare him to the other Stormshadow that they released in the standard line. So as always, 2 seconds. And here we have Stormshadow all kitted out. And I've got to say, overall, yep, I'm fairly impressed with this. I quite like the figure. I think Stormshadow's a great figure. However, I do have my nitpicks. And one of them is him being a ninja. I don't think his articulation is that great. I think he needs more articulation around the hips area so he can get his legs out a little bit further. I wish he had toe joints as well, so you could put him on his toes and stuff like that. A bit like Spider-Man. That's how I would see Stormshadow to be. He's a ninja, isn't he? So he's very flexible and gets into all sorts of positions. A bit like Spider-Man. So yeah, articulation isn't great on this. But I've got to say, he does look pretty cool. So I do like him a lot, and I think he will look pretty cool in the display. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to stand him up straight and then get the other Stormshadow in and take a quick comparison look. So again, give me 2 seconds. Okie dokie then, so here are the two G.I Joe Classified Stormshadows side by side. On the left hand side you've got the retro carded version, and on the right hand side you've got the standard line version. Now the retro carded version is exactly the same sculpt as the standard version, however there are some slight differences. So the retro version, from where I'm sitting, looks more of a bright white than the standard version. The arrows on the retro version are white compared to the red on the standard. The bow here, as you can see, this bit here is all painted white, this side, and the same that side there. Whereas on the other version, the standard version, the handle is red. The gauntlets on the standard version are different. So if I spin it round, you can see he's got some armor just there on the side, whereas the retro carded version is just wraps, which I do prefer because that is very much in keeping with the original version of Stormshadow, the O-ring version from the 80s. And then the bottom of the feet, so on the standard version, you've got black soles just here, and on the retro carded version, you do have the white soles on the bottom of the feet. However, I do like both. I will be displaying both. So the retro carded version will be going in the, I'll call it the main display. So he'll be going there with the retro carded Destro, Baroness and Cobra Commander. And the standard Stormshadow will be going up and standing next to Cobra Commander in my Cobra Commander display, because yeah, he was his kind of bodyguard. But yeah, I mean, overall, I've got to say, I really do like this figure. However, like I said, I do feel it needs better articulation, a bit like the Spider-Man figure, where you can get into all different sort of like poses and stuff like that, because he is a ninja, so that would have been nice. But yeah, overall thoughts, I'm happy with it. I think he looks pretty cool. Like I say, I'm not 100% sure on the card art whether it's the exact same image as what they used on the original cards back in the 80s. So if anybody would like to let me know in the comments, that would be great. Thank you very much. Yeah, other than that, that is it for this video. So all I've got left to say is, If you are new to the channel, feel free to comment, like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell to let you know of more content. And as always, there will be more content. Very much appreciate you watching. Thank you. It does mean a lot. I very much also appreciate your support, your generosity and your friendship. That does mean a hell of a lot. Thank you. Take care, stay safe, and we shall see you in the next video. Bye for now.